Good evening, everyone. Welcome to NTD Tonight. I'm David Zhang. Here are some of today's top stories. Boeing successfully launched its first ever astronaut flight and has officially reached orbit. The Texas governor released a first of its kind most wanted list of illegal immigrants. NTD has the details. A dangerous heat wave is forecasted to sweep through Arizona, California, and Nevada, bringing triple-digit temperatures. First up, today Boeing successfully launched as the first ever astronaut flight after two previously failed attempts. The Starliner spacecraft has officially reached orbit. The liftoff occurred around 11 a.m. Eastern Time from Cape Canaveral Space Force Station in Florida. The two astronauts are now heading to the International Space Station. It's a milestone in the aerospace giant's ambition to step up its competition with Elon Musk's SpaceX. The launch planned last Saturday was canceled due to a computer issue. With only a split second to take off, Boeing had to call the launch off. Next, the team has to navigate docking with the crew and returning to Earth in about a week. Lawmakers from both sides of the aisle are commenting on President Biden's new executive order on immigration. The order went into effect at midnight last night. The Biden administration says it's trying to slow down illegal immigration by shutting down asylum claims between ports of entry. Video footage shows some of the first migrants returned by the U.S. Border Patrol to Mexico just hours after the order took effect. Many Republicans dismissed the executive order as too little, too late, which comes just 3 weeks before the first scheduled debate with former President Trump. House Republican Mike Lauper commented, saying 3.5 years into his administration, he finally realized that he had his executive authority to shut down the border crisis that he himself created. Some Democrats also said they were let down by Biden's strategy to resort to Trump-era policy.
We make the mistake of trying to out-Republican Republicans. They're not going to come over to us if they're fighting us on immigration. Using the same tools that Donald Trump used is actually a big problem for Democrats to be able to continue to show those differences and keep our base with us.
Congresswoman Jayapal joined other Democrats to speak at a rally under the hashtag slogan, "Asylum is a right." Biden responded to those who think his steps are too strict. He said doing nothing is not an option. Today is day 3 of Hunter Biden's federal gun trial in Wilmington, Delaware. The prosecution's first witness, FBI Special Agent Erica Jensen, returned to the stand today. Hunter Biden's lawyers continued their cross-examination of her. The prosecution has presented excerpts from Hunter Biden's memoir, Beautiful Things. The president's son detailed his drug addiction in the book. Jensen also presented text messages Hunter Biden sent to Hallie Biden, the widow of Hunter Biden's late brother, Beau Biden. The defense lawyers argue that Hunter Biden's drug use dropped before he purchased the gun. Hunter Biden's ex-wife, Kathleen Bowe, is expected to take the stand next. Roughly 10 of Hunter Biden's family and friends are in the courtroom today, including his wife, Melissa Cohen. The federal judge overseeing former President Trump's classified documents case has made an unusual decision. U.S. District Judge Eileen Cannon will open up an upcoming hearing to outside parties. The hearing will decide whether special counsel Jack Smith's appointment was valid. It would take place in federal court in Florida on June 21st. The judge said that 3 outside experts will be able to make their cases for up to 30 minutes each during the hearing. Trump alleges that Attorney General Merrick Garland's appointment of Smith is illegal because he was not working for the federal government at the time. Government lawyers say those arguments are wrong. One of the outside experts agrees with the government, while the other 2 experts agree with Trump. Law enforcement arrested over a dozen people at Stanford University. Anti-Israel protesters occupied a building that houses the university president and provost offices. The campus was left with vandalism and damage. NTD's David Lamb reports.
We're here at the prestigious Stanford University, and early this morning, protesters that are anti-Israel barricaded and spread messages and graffitied across the main quadrant.
It's kind of upsetting, honestly. I think we have a beautiful campus, and I think it's wrong to vandalize it.
Stanford University notified students via email of the vandalism, saying the school is saddened by it. According to the group Liberate Stanford on Instagram, They wanted the university to divest from Israel as a result of the Israel-Hamas war. The school said there was extensive damage to the interior and exterior of the building. A public safety officer was injured, according to the school. The university said arrested students will be immediately suspended, and in case any of them are seniors, they will not be allowed to graduate. This comes as the school's spring session comes to a close and finals begin within a week from now.
And it is a distraction. I mean, it's not a huge distraction. I just think it's like, I don't know, I just think it's unnecessary. Like, there's just better ways to, I don't know. It's just unnecessary and disrespectful, I think, what happened.
According to the protesters' social media, they plan to rally for the release of the arrested students at the county jail. Liberate Stanford said their group of students and alumni entered President Richard Saylor's office and barricaded inside at around 6 a.m. They were arrested after 8 a.m. The school said they have also cleared the encampment occupations on another part of campus. In Palo Alto, California, David Lamb, NTD News.
Texas released a top 10 most wanted list of illegal immigrants. The governor's office said the list is a part of a new effort to find and arrest dangerous repeat offenders. NTD's Jason Blair has more.
The list was released on Wednesday and is a collaboration between the Texas governor and Texas DPS. Governor Greg Abbott said in a statement, quote, "Texas is a law and order state, and with the help of our fellow Texans, we will ensure that the illegal immigrants on this list are taken off our streets and put behind bars to keep our communities safe." The list is available on the Texas DPS website and shows names, photos, and descriptions of the 10 wanted suspects. It also lists the alleged crimes they are wanted for. 6 of the 10 include sexual assault or sexual contact with a child. Over the past few years, Texas has taken various efforts to curb the mass influx of illegal immigration, include deploying the State National Guard and DPS to the border with Operation Lone Star, and making it a state crime to pass through the U.S.-Mexico border outside of any designated points of entry. Last Friday, Governor Abbott said the measures have been improving the situation.
Over the past 2 years, illegal immigration has increased in New Mexico, Arizona, and California. At the very same time, it has gone down in the state of Texas by about 72%.
Texas is offering cash rewards for the most wanted suspects ranging up to $3,000 to $5,000. Tips can be submitted anonymously by calling Texas Crime Stoppers, going to the Texas DPS website, or on the Texas 10 Most Wanted Facebook page. The notice says all the fugitives are to be considered armed and dangerous. Jason Blair, NTD News.
The first major heat wave of the season arrived earlier than usual in the U.S. It's expected to roast much of the country's southwest this week, bringing in triple-digit temperatures. NTD's Christina Corona updates us on the weather and how to stay cool.
With triple-digit weather expected in many parts of the Southwest nearly 2 weeks before the official start of summer, millions of Americans were warned on Tuesday to curb outdoor activity and stay well hydrated. Forecasters predict temperatures in the Southwest may exceed 110 degrees in some areas by Thursday. By Wednesday afternoon, regions from southeast California to central Arizona experienced their hottest weather since last September, with record highs threatened from Las Vegas to Phoenix. Excessive heat warnings are in effect from Wednesday morning through Friday evening for parts of southeast California, southern Nevada, and Arizona. Climate scientist Daniel Swain says the heat wave's impact is greater now because people haven't yet acclimated to such high temperatures, which are more typical later in summer.
This is an early season heat wave and represents a fairly sudden transition from milder conditions this spring. So some places may see record-breaking heat for early June.
He says that while the West Coast summer is usually dry, heavy rain in Washington and Oregon is causing flood watches. This unusual rain will soon be followed by potentially record-breaking warmth, creating an uncommon combination of heat and humidity.
This preceding storm event that's dropping all this water may be part of the reason why the heat wave to follow could become so persistent and widespread. And that's because when precipitation and clouds are formed, heat can be released in that process.
Sacramento residents share their ideas for staying cool during the heat.
A lot of parents are doing different things with their kids to cool off. So maybe museums, indoor things when it is just way too hot to be outside. But in the early hours before it gets to the 100-degree temperatures, we'll definitely be outside doing the water parks when we can. It's supposed to be a really, really hot day. So we're out here just trying to get some outdoor time in before it heats up too much in the late afternoon.
During a heat wave, you can cool off at various places, including libraries, shopping centers, larger stores like Costco, and designated cooling centers. Always remember to stay hydrated and take precautions to stay safe in extreme heat. Christina Corona, NTD News, El Monte.
We'll take a short break now, everybody, but here's a look at what we have for you when we come back. The Chinese Communist Party using violent threats to intimidate dissidents abroad. One activist says she has even received death threats. 49ers Christian McCaffrey signs a record-setting contract extension. The deal is worth $38 million over 2 years. A pop icon and singer adds her hand and footprint to Hollywood, cementing her legacy in the music industry. Those stories and more coming up on NTD Tonight. Welcome back to NTD Tonight. I'm your host, David Zhang. The Chinese Communist Party has extended its persecution of people. It's beyond the borders of mainland China, reaching as far as the United States. Now protesting against the CCP, even from right here in America, can come with severe consequences, including death threats. Let's turn to NTD's Bill Thomas to find out more.
Shen left China shortly after the 1989 Tiananmen Square protests and massacre. She moved to Canada and began working as a journalist, writer, and human rights activist speaking out against the CCP. However, with her growing influence, so grew China's attempt to suppress her voice, and she told us she received harassing tweets, messages, and more.
It's about hundreds of tweets every day. And also they sent me private messages, and they sent me emails, 100 per day.
She tells us one of the tweets indicated a specific date regarding when she'd be murdered at a public venue.
I saw a tweet that says the death time of you is May 31st of 2024. I don't know if your head is harder than the 9 millimeters.
This tweeted threat was one which she couldn't ignore.
This is a death threat. It's not only a threatening to myself because it is a public event. It is a threatening to all of the people. So my friend suggests me to report to the police station.
After she made contact with law enforcement, they suggested she avoid the event or urge the organizers to cancel it. However, she refused to be intimidated.
I said, no, I won't do that. Because what they have been trying to silence me, they want me to shut up. So if I'm not going, if I want them, the organizer, to cancel the event, that means they win.
Shen also says giving in to the CCP's threats and intimidation would have a domino effect.
When they win this battle, then they will copy this method to other people, and they will silence all of the activists. So I have to continue.
Last Friday, Shen attended the symposium on overthrowing the evil tyranny of the Chinese Communist Party held at the Taiwan Center in Rosemead, California. To ensure everyone's safety, the LA County Sheriff's Department and FBI agents were in attendance, and there were no reported conflicts. Bill Thomas and Jimmy Ma, NTD News, Los Angeles.
In France, a convoy of motorbikes commemorated the 80th anniversary of the D-Day invasion. Bikers from around the world gathered to pay tribute.
A convoy of 170 Harley-Davidson motorbikes from the Second World War took to the roads of Normandy in France on Tuesday to commemorate the 80th anniversary of the D-Day invasion. Among the bikers was Robert Marciano from South Dakota, who was taking part in D-Day celebrations for the first time.
I get emotional. This is sacred ground. The world changed at this point. My father was a veteran. He fought in the Battle of the Bulge and went through Germany and into Austria. I knew many of the veterans.
The gathering began with an exhibition at the Normandy Victory Museum, where visitors could view the historic motorbikes. The owners of the vintage vehicles then set off on a 56-mile convoy tour. According to the organizers, the youngest biker was 19 years old and the oldest 83.
For Europe, of course, there's lots of things going on. Two big wars in Europe and in Israel, of course. We should never forget what's happened. We celebrate, of course, the liberation. You see everywhere the flags, all the people are celebrating liberation, but also thinking about what happened 80 years ago.
On December 16, 1944, the Battle of the Bulge began as German forces launched a surprise attack against Allied forces through the Ardennes forest in Belgium and Luxembourg. The Allies were eventually able to turn the Germans back. The event was an opportunity to celebrate the region's Second World War history and heritage, while paying tribute to the soldiers who fought to liberate France.
And now let's shift to sports. Big news from the NFL as the San Francisco 49ers have just extended the star running back Christian McCaffrey's contract. NTD's Carlos Reyes has the details.
Christian McCaffrey has signed a lucrative 2-year extension with the San Francisco 49ers. The team announced the deal valued at $38 million on Tuesday. This extension ensures McCaffrey remains the NFL's highest paid running back until he turns 31. McCaffrey originally signed to a 4-year, $64 million contract with the Carolina Panthers in 2020, was then traded to the 49ers in 2022. Since then, his performance has justified every penny. Last season, McCaffrey clinched his first rushing title, scored 21 touchdowns, and amassed over 2,000 all-purpose yards. His stellar performance nearly led the 49ers to a Super Bowl victory, but they fell short in an overtime thriller against the Kansas City Chiefs. Since his arrival, he's been everything we thought he would be and more, said John Lynch, the 49ers president of football operations and general manager. McCaffrey's dynamic skill set and professionalism have made him a seamless fit in San Francisco's offense. Currently, McCaffrey's $19 million annual salary puts him ahead of other top-earning running backs like New Orleans' Alvin Kamara, who earns $15 million per year. Alongside Kamara, Indianapolis' John Taylor, Philadelphia's Saquon Barkley, and Green Bay's Josh Jacobs are the only running backs earning over $10 million annually. As McCaffrey secures his future with the team, the 49ers face other contractual decisions. Wideout Brandon Ayuk's contract situation remains unresolved as he enters the 2024 season under his 5th-year option. Additionally, the team has recently extended wide receiver Juwan Jennings' contract and engaged in trade talks regarding Deebo Samuel. Carlos Reyes, NTD News.
A pop icon and singer just added her hand and footprints to Hollywood. Other singers congratulated her at the ceremony.
Girls Just Want to Have Fun singer Cyndi Lauper cemented her hand and footprints outside Hollywood's famous TLC Chinese Theater on June 4th.
I just want to say thank you. And it's really a surreal moment because, you know, I love glamour and I love Hollywood. Come on. Thank you. Thank you so much.
The 70-year-old pop icon and activist was joined by fellow singers Cher and Bibi Rexha, who sang Lauper's praises and called her an inspiration. Cher, whose prints were cemented in 2010, recalled the time she sang her hit Turn Back Time with Lauper in the 2002 Divas concert.
And I'm singing it and I'm really feeling good about myself, and she comes out and blows me away. And we've been friends ever since.
Bibi Rexha said she danced to Lauper's hits as a little girl.
Not only was I drawn to her infectious melodies and her edgy style, but it was most importantly her unapologetic nature to be her true self, her true authentic self.
Most of the cement blocks outside the movie theater bear the hand and footprints of actors, dating back to the 1920s. Lauper said she felt honored to be in their company.
It's amazing to be here and rub shoulders, even though they're not here. Their DNA is here, their handprints are here, their art, their talent, what they did, the blood, sweat, and tears they poured into their craft is here. It's kind of sacred ground.
On Monday, Lauper announced the dates for her farewell tour, which will cover 28 cities across the U.S. and Canada starting on October 18th. A new feature-length documentary exploring Lauper's career premieres on Paramount Plus in the U.S. and Canada on Tuesday, and in the U.K., Australia, Latin America, Brazil, Italy, France, and Germany on Wednesday.
Stay tuned for China in Focus with Tiffany Meyer coming up next. A Chinese student is facing the music after allegedly flying a drone to photograph a U.S. Navy shipyard, one that builds classified nuclear submarines. Was Beijing behind the fly mission? Or on China in Focus with Tiffany Meyer at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. And that's all we've got for you tonight. We'd like you to join us again on NTD Tonight every weekday at 9 p.m. I'm David Zhang. Have a wonderful evening.